Hello everyone, here we are back again with another video around fundamentals of programming. So today we'll be discussing about conditional statements in Java. As you can see here, currently in Java, there are two different type of statements that you can execute to test for condition and then running statements conditionally. The first one is the if-else conditions. The second one is the switch case. So again, since we want it to be more practical, I will go directly to the Eclipse IDE and then we'll give you some examples starting with how to write the if-else conditions and then how we can better manage and adjust them if needed using the switch statements. So let's jump over. As you can see, I am in the Eclipse IDE. I will start with the if-else statements. So basically, for anybody who is new to programming and want to understand what's the purpose of if-else conditions. So if-else conditions are basically used to conditionally execute your statements based on some conditions where, let's say, you want to go and then print your name if there is a certain condition like the value of the variable being met or some other criteria is being met. The other example would be, let's say, if you want to go and then test for a condition in an exam where, let's say, your passing score is 40%, and if your score is greater than 40, you should be declared pass, whereas if the score is less than 40%, you should be declared as fail. So these sort of conditions where you have to check for some criteria, it's better to use if-else conditions in that case. So I will take the same example of marks and scores and will show you how we can write a basic if-else condition here. So what I will do is, let's say I take a variable integer and I say math marks or score, and currently I, let's say, initialize that to 41. So I got a score of 41 out of 100. Now what I will do here is I say if my math score is greater than equal to 40, in that case I should be declared as pass. So what I will do here is I will print out pass here. The other part is else, and in this case I would be declared as failed. So let's run this and see how does it look like. Looks like there's a type, should be a match score instead of match score. There is some error. Let me just check it out. Looks like there is an additional curly brace which I wasn't able to remove previously. Now the other things are resolved. So as you can see in this condition, since I had a score of 41, it failed. It passed for this condition because my score was greater than 40, so I got a pass. Now, if I just quickly change this to, let's say, 30, it should go and execute the fail condition. So here you can see you can use this to test out multiple conditions uh, and look for various conditions in this case. So this was one example of if and else. So else is something more of a default condition, but you can have more than two conditions here also, because here if you see I just had a condition uh, of checking for a score of 40 or more and then deciding whether I'm a pass or fail. But if you have, let's say, multiple conditions, you can also go and then check for those. So one example here would be, let's say if I want to go and then check for the month. So I just wanted to go and then figure out uh, four different seasons that we would have, like summer, winter, autumn, spring, and then just for the sake of discussion, I will just say if it's October November, December, it's winter. If it's January, February, March, it's spring, and then the next 3 months for summer, and then the fall. So you can just go club those, and then based on that we can go and classify, and that will also tell you how we can use multiple conditions within a statement. So I will take uh, another variable called integer, which will store the month, and then within month we could have a value of 1 to 12. So let's say I put out 1. Now my conditions would be if month is equal to 1 or month equal to 2 or month equal to 3. So this is one way where you can go and then look for multiple conditions with an OR operator. Uh, just one example just to show. Uh, so in this case, I will just say this is a spring, just for our discussion. I know this will not be spring, but we can just go and put it. The second thing would be I can just copy the same thing and I can just go and replace it with a condition saying if the month is 4, 5, 6, I will just call it as summer. Again, copying the same thing, talking about 7, 8, 9, and this would be spring. And then the last one would be you can either use else if or you can use an else condition. So in this case, anything remaining, like I put a 10, 11, 12, it would be a winter. So let's try to execute this and see. So if you see, I put a month as 1, so that means it falls under this condition. Now, if I just quickly put a month as December, it should go as winter. So this is winter. Similarly, if I put a month as August, it should be a spring based on our conditions below. So this is one example of how to use if-else conditions. What happens here is it looks for the first condition, and if the first condition is satisfied, it will not go and check for the other conditions. Only if the first condition fails, it will go and then check for it. So in this example, let's say if I put a month just by mistake here, copy month 1 in both places, and I just start with 1. So since month 1 is part of the first and second condition, it will test for the first condition and execute and return me the results with the first one. Uh, Only if I would have removed this one here, it would have gone through and looked for the second condition and would have returned me summer in that case. So I hope this was helpful for you to understand how the if-else conditions work. The second conditional statements bucket that we have, or the approach that you can use, is using the switch statements. So statements are pretty much similar to if else. They will actually go and then serve the same purpose, but instead of having to write these sort of lengthy if else condition, you can keep it more concise and straightforward. So I will just show you with the same example of month. So what we can do is, instead of saying uh, uh, or writing these conditions, you can start with saying switch, and then it can test for the condition. So the first thing would be you can say switch, and then you will define the variable to test out, which is month in this case, and then you will say case, and then here you will specify if the value is 1, for example, what should be done in that case. So if the value is 1, you will say system.out.println, and then it would be the same way like we talked about. For the 1, it would be spring. The same way, what you can do is, so what will happen here is it will start the switch condition taking this variable which is having a value of 1, and then it starts with testing for these conditions using these different case statements. So you can have n number of case statements here defining case 2, case 3, similarly case 4, and then for a case 4, instead of spring, we can just say summer. And then lastly, you can also have a default condition if you want to specify a default condition, what should happen in case if none of these conditions, like it's pretty much similar to the else condition that you have. So instead of specifying all the conditions, if you just want to say, if I get any value outside of what was defined in those initial case statements, I should be able to go and then get back the default response. So if you see now, the results are pretty much similar. The other key thing that you probably will note here is it works a bit differently in case where uh, in if else condition, like I was showing you with example, if you run the first condition, if it's satisfied, it will actually go and then not check for the second condition. But in the case statements, you need to make sure that you put a break condition after the execution of the first statement so that it doesn't go and check for the other conditions. Because if you don't put a break, it will look for the other conditions and will try to match those as well. So make sure when you are putting a case statement, you put a statement uh, and then you put a break when the condition is being met. Now, just to show you another example, in this case, like if I put a 12, none of these conditions were met, and it went to the default, which is equivalent to the else condition, and it ran through this situation. So again, from a development perspective, I have seen developers being more comfortable with if-else statements. But as you can see, if-else is more verbose, and switch statements are more concise. So I prefer if you are able to go and then write more concise code, or you want to write more concise code, then you probably should look for switch condition because they make it more concise and easy to read and more maintainable code. So I hope you like the video. Do let us know via your comments about this video, and if you want to see some other videos around the fundamentals of Java programming. Hope to see you soon in some other video. Take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye.